Today's episode is a detailed, thoughtful opportunity to break down many of the services that we have at Powell Studio. Through my own health journey, I had suffered from many symptoms that are now becoming more common through everyday life. I hear about everyone that is really challenged with autoimmune and weight loss resistance, feeling terrible, but not being able to find the answers through standard healthcare. Over the last 10 years, I have navigated trying every modality and then some, making sure that what we have to offer is going to deliver a natural, repeatable, strategic outcome that you can be confident in and will always deliver the wow you're looking for. My goal is to prevent you wasting time, energy, and money and getting to the root cause of the problem, identifying where you can improve. And this whole episode will nail all that down. Consultations always required. I know this is a lot to digest, but our goal is to make sure that you have little snippets of every opportunity to have your best health moving forward. We look forward to seeing you on the other side. Welcome to PS with Jen. Today we're going to talk about all the things wellness at Powell Studio. We have created our wellness program, which is the foundation of every aesthetic and wellness offering that we have in here. Every patient that comes to us, we're diving deep to make sure that we can understand them with every cell in their body and mind. You cannot out-inject poor inflamed skin. You can't outperform an inflamed gut. You can't out-pain, a Hockett session to deliver lack of inflammation and lack of pain if you aren't getting to the root cause of the problem. We want to identify, we want to make sure that we are communicating and we are creating strategic plans and strategy that optimize every outcome in Powell Studio. Our wellness offerings have been something that have been curated over my own decade of wellness journey. And now I feel so incredible and confident that we can have natural, repeatable outcomes no matter what age, no matter what concern. And I'm excited to dive into those today with you so that you can understand as a consumer without being overwhelmed and to consume on your own time what resonates with you, how you're feeling, what's going on, and which actionable steps and which pathway would best fit what you needed. We always make a recommendation that everyone start with a consultation. What I found in my own experience is that I had worked with many providers and I was feeling overwhelmed, not because I wasn't putting in the effort, but because I wasn't seeing the prize like some of my peers had been able to do. And I was discouraged because I had invested a lot of time, energy, and money. Well, Powell Studio's pathways and our precision methods set this apart. There'll no longer be any guesswork. There'll no longer be any stone unturned. We're recommending always to start with either a tier 1 or tier 2 lab panel. This allows us to identify any nutrient deficiencies, any areas of inflammation, any cardiac risk, any pituitary weakness, elevated cortisol levels, all of these things of inflammation that may drive resistance to us being able to achieve our outcomes. Our tier 2 panel is a deeper dive where we are going to make sure that there is genetic testing that's going to support understanding your genetic basics of what things that you have been gifted from mom and dad and your family genes, but it doesn't mean that these things will express themselves. Lifestyle is epigenetics and whether or not you turn these genes on or off. And when we can identify any triggers that might create inflammation in your body through our other testing, we can prevent those things from coming to light for you. We are going to do some mycotoxin testing and look for anything that you may have been exposed to. So whether it's mold or arsenic, mercury toxicity, we're full of microplastics and glyphosates. Identifying why someone might not be feeling their best self or be filled with inflammation has been huge in helping them to safely detox. Some of these triggers that are creating symptoms in their body are a gift. We want to make sure that there's no stone unturned. We're not treating symptoms, we're treating the problem. We are using allergy testing. I know that many people think like, oh, I don't need that. And allergy testing, if you had your throat closed, you would need an EpiPen and you would know exactly what that was. But it's what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did we develop inflammation in our gut and became more responsive to foods in our surroundings and now have allergies to foods we once didn't have? Or did we have those allergies without realizing it and we created chronic inflammation in the gut, which created wear and tear, poor absorption of nutrients, and an ongoing inflammatory or histamine response every time we exposed ourselves to these unknown allergen triggers? So what we want to do is look for allergies of foods or medicines, things that maybe you're exposing yourself to fumes or really anything in our environment that we're having. And so we can thoughtfully remove those and allow for optimal healing in the gut. We are going to create clarity on the gut health, where you are and what your starting point is, so that we can monitor with different levels of progress. So we always tell people when I'm talking to them, like, when we look at you as a whole, it gives me the opportunity to make sure that we are going in a way that's going to serve your lifestyle. So I have some people who they dive all in, they remove every trigger, no problem. Some people are devastated to remove some of the foods that come back on their list. And I'm like, it doesn't mean it's forever. It's just the more you can be thoughtful now and the more you can follow the plan, the sooner you'll get to the prize of recovery and optimal healing. And then we can revisit whether or not you could have these things every once in a while. I give the information of you want to empty your bucket faster than you're filling it, because a lot of times everyone's timeline of when they had started with symptoms is going to be different. I personally had I had a great childhood. I was busy doing a lot in college. I had my first child pretty young while I was in college, lived a very busy life with young kids, doing too much chronically. I had 5 children, 5 C-sections. I lost my dad when I was pregnant with my 5th, and my bucket was overfilling. And so my symptoms happened in between the 4th and the 5th. And when I was pregnant with that 5th child, it was just a non-negotiable. I was not recovering. I was not getting that weight off. I was not sleeping well. I ended up with more symptoms than I could have ever imagined. And I didn't understand, because nothing for me in my mind had changed, like what was happening. So being able to help people realize, I want you to push. I want you to be able to have all these goals. I want you to achieve that marathon. I want you to be able to live this crazy executive job and do all the things and be a great parent and make sure that you live your best life without it deciding whether or not you're going to be sick or not. You're in control and you stay that way. So when we think about emptying our bucket faster than we're filling it, we're removing what's filling it. Those are sometimes toxins. Sometimes it's our environment. There's microplastics, glyphosates. There's, having good water. Kangen water, hydrogen-rich, minerally rich, pH-balanced water is a simple way that I can assure that I'm not drinking out of a plastic bottle, that I am optimizing every cell in my body with hydration and health, so that if I do have inflammation that comes in, it's not going to get stuck there. When your cell becomes inflamed, there's no message, no extra added anything that you can put in the body that's going to make it better, because those receptors are flat. Envision your cell with its receptors kind of floating on the outside of it. It is ready to receive thyroid messaging, ready to receive hormone messaging, anything that you want to happen, mood, energy, brain clarity, libido, weight loss, recovery, performing your best self. None of those things are going to be sustainable or achievable or consistent if you can't keep that inflammation down and have your receptors ready to receive. You can't add more to make it better. You need to simplify, heal first, and then receive the messages and have those extra efforts come to light in a positive way. The body's resilient. It wants to heal itself. So when we can identify strategy instead of guessing, this tier 2 pathway becomes so powerful. It is not something to be afraid of. It's something to be so excited about. So we've talked about genetic testing. We've talked about IgG allergy testing. We've talked about mycotoxin testing. And we've talked about the comprehensive stool, so that we can understand where your gut is. When we compile that with your tier 1 lab work that looks at every system in the body, we create a thoughtful treatment plan. This allows us to guide what pathway in Powell Studio that you would fall into. So are you in the Powell Precision Gut pathway? Are you in our acne pathway? Are you in our hormone mastery pathway? Or are you in our metabolic reset pathway? Some of these all kind of overlap. We have a lot of people who are multitasking and doing all of them. And then our top tier is our Powell Performance Program. This is a 5-month program that we have in the space, which allows us the time to correct those years of damage that we weren't even aware were piling and overfilling our bucket. So the first couple of weeks, we're collecting, obtaining all of our answers, creating the thoughtful care plan. And then month 2, 3, and 4 gives us the opportunity to spend time in our Hocket with ozone therapy, to have Sika scale measurements. So you can see when you are losing weight, when your inflammation is down, when you are correcting things and getting to that toned, lean body that you have been craving, that you're losing actual visceral or subcutaneous fat, not bone, not muscle, not the things that actually chop our metabolism in half. These are not diets. They're not quick fixes. They're definitely not trends. There is a place actually in this industry and in every industry where those cowboys who want to do everything first, I love them. I'm not one of them. I'm following you. I pay attention, but I am not that person. I wait, observe, and I try everything out myself to make sure that I am driving an opportunity where people can acknowledge a positive experience from their efforts, some quick wins and some long-term gains. Both are really important. And so we have this combination in the office where we can give you things like thinner, a metabolic reset where it's lowering inflammation, it's balancing cortisol in your body, and it allows your body to really focus on the nutrients with gentle intermittent fasting and a lifestyle that you can incorporate for the rest of your life. So in our Powell Performance program, we decide based on all of the labs that we get back, which part of these pathways will encompass in your 5 months. Do you need to detox? Detoxing needs to be done safely. And what people don't realize is many of the things that you're trying to detox in your body, whether it's mold or mercury, arsenic, microplastics, glyphosates, they have a long half-life. And a lot of our binders, once we start pushing those things out of our body, if you have a delayed sluggish liver, it's not going to filter anything. It's already, and you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, Jen, why do I need naps every day? Well, we need to open up drainage pathways. We need to heal the gut so when it hits the gut that it doesn't auto-populate into new tissues and create more chaos, increased anxiety, more vulnerability of depression or other symptoms, more inflammation, different skin rashes. Autoimmune is climbing all the time. I notice that this is part of someone's chart when they come in and we do their health assessment and we make sure that they fill out their health history, that everyone's got autoimmune disease. Everyone's got this diagnosis that happened. And it's kind of left fluid where they don't really even know what it means. And so autoimmune and your body responding, it really is smart. It's trying to protect you, actually. It's like, okay, I'm inflamed, but I'm trying to protect you from something bad. And so when it is working so hard on all of these other things, it can't focus on what we want it to. Improved energy, weight loss, balanced hormones, good night's sleep, because it's on overdrive. So we've taken tier 1 or tier 2. We've identified where we need to focus. We are in month 2, 3, and 4 of Powell Performance Program, and we're detoxing you safely, creating healing. We've removed any of the things that are creating inflammation in your body, and you see the results. Some are quick. Weight loss is happening pretty rapidly, but safely. You're seeing that you're sleeping better. We repeat lab work throughout the 5 months so that you can see your progress. We also are using things like IV hydration. I know that I added IV hydration at Powell Studio, not because it was a moneymaker, because it takes a long time and it's not, but because I was so inflamed in my gut that I was absorbing nothing. And so the first provider I ever worked with prescribed me 24 supplements with an inflamed body, a sluggish liver, and a gut that absorbs nothing really is not in my best interest. It was making me feel terrible. I followed the rules. I'm like, why isn't this working? I invested a lot of time, energy, and money in this, but I'm not getting the prize. And so we realized with IV hydration, you are 100% absorbing all the nutrients that we can give you, which helps to boost that mood and that clarity, and it helps to flush some of the toxins that we're trying to push out of your system. So having different tailored IV hydration in the office that can pair beautifully in this 5-month program has been a win. We're maximizing hydration and minerals and nutrients because we're all deficient in minerals. And then we're also, take this thought of all of our pathways in our Powell Performance Program are services that, yes, they're clear. Yes, they repeat themselves, but we know that in conjunction together, they work. And so instead of having an a la carte menu where it's like, pick this one or pick that one, we have actually piled them into treatment plans to know that you will always get the optimal outcome. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed picking a pathway in Powell Studio. I want you to feel empowered based on what I can give you for a thoughtful consultation and a revamp of or a review of all of our findings in your testing, that we're going to pick the best pathway for you and we're going to get a beautiful outcome. So when you think about which pathway we have overlap, I just want to review a few of the services aside from IV hydration that we have in here. So every day we have our Kangen water system that is driving beautiful hydration in the body. We have 2 of the systems in our office and many clients who are purchasing them for home that are part of our wellness program. So when you think about contaminated water, you're thinking about something else that you need to filter. And so when we talk about the Kangen water system, we have a very easily installed pH balanced, minerally rich hydrogen, which is the smallest molecule that can enter every cell. So instead of taking something that decreases inflammation in the body, your water is naturally doing that for you. And so imagine your cell inflamed, and then the hydrogen is able to surpass that inflammation. It can create healing, and all of that inflammation that's in the body, it can help it to filter those things out. It can remove it. They're no longer trapped. And so we use the hydrogen water every day. We have patients that come, please bring your water bottle. I recommend glass, not plastic, but fill your own and try it yourself. This is part of all of our pathways so that when someone comes in and they use something like our next service, the Hocket, they are in here for 30 minutes trying to drive detox, and they're burning 600 calories, tightening and toning their skin. They are using it as a complete reset. So a lot of my marathon runners, I tend to, collaborate with a lot of local gyms and support when they're doing fundraising. I have Moses Fitness I love, and they've just actually successfully completed the most recent marathon. Well, I watched her run around like crazy, doing all the things, running the business, planning a wedding, training for a marathon with no recovery. All I can see is that her bucket's about to overfill. And I predict, I don't want her to get injured. I want her to thrive and to succeed and to come back even faster than a time that she had planned on. I made the recommendation to get in the Hocket because it starts with CO2 therapy. It's going to vasodilate every vessel in the body. At the same time, sauna, heat, and ozone therapy are in there, and oxygen therapy. So you're going to vasodilate every vessel in the body. You're hyper oxygenating areas that have been under oxygenated. We're all talking this fast and moving so fast, and we are not taking breaths that are deep enough. We're not pausing and recovering as fast as or as much as, and as long as we need to. We're just go, go, go. And so when you're in there, you're breathing, relaxed, you're sitting, your head is no longer part of it. It's not like a sauna, but you're getting that sauna and steam. Your ozone therapy, think of ozone is O3. So oxygen's O2. It's got that extra molecule. It's waiting to jump off and drive onto every part of the body that is inflamed or parasite, or we have people who come in, they have Lyme, or they have a sore ankle, they have tennis elbow. Man, that pickleball is getting everybody. And so I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to recover and to continue to enjoy those activities that you have always partaked in. But when you partake in these things and you don't recover, you end up with an injury or you end up losing out on something you loved. And so we can step back and support you here in clarity on, okay, if this is the life I'm going to live, these are the actions that I need to take to be proactive. I do have a lot of people that are coming to me once they already feel bad, but I would love for this message to get out so that people know they can proactively make these decisions and prevent disease and injury and not have to worry about fixing something, but instead not having it come to fruition in the first place. So you're sat in your ozone Hocket, and underneath your feet, you can envision they're sitting on 2 metal plates. There's microcurrents that are coming up through your feet. It reminds me of acupuncture. And so this microcurrents, we are grabbing those and putting in a number setting into the Hocket that is going to address your specific concern. So just like I was saying, if you have, inflammation, or you have high cholesterol, or you had Lyme disease, or you have, a knee injury, we can hyperfixate and make sure that that's addressing. If you have infertility, I have people coming in all the time that are, different conditions, different stages, different places. If you just want to recover hard, that's an option in there too. But you're getting all of these modalities, which is 10 modalities. There's also photon light therapy in there, and the sauna and steam. So if you think 10 modalities, if you had broken those down into multiple sessions, how many hours would it take you to do all of those? And how much money would it take you to do all those? At Powell Studio, it's $175 for your first session, or $200 for a package, $250 for a la carte. That is incredible. people look at me like I'm crazy. I've had the device for 2 years. It's the only one in Massachusetts. I found it attending a conference that was not in the area, and have just always driven the need for more of clarity and precision and to be so efficient. And so that's what I always explain the Hocket as, so efficient and powerful in your ability to recover. So that's part of our Powell Precision program, where you get 10 sessions. So are we using it to detox? Are we using it to recover? Are we lowering inflammation in your body? All of these opportunities come from our Hocket. We then are with a new device, actually, that I'm happy to add to Powell Studio. What I've noticed is, because people have worked with other providers, and maybe they've been disappointed, or maybe they've invested a lot and it has been difficult to get the results that they're looking for. Maybe they're a little better, but their results aren't lasting, or they're actually not getting the results at all. They are hesitant to make that big investment. And so we've had these opportunities to create clarity. The PNOE is a metabolic test. And so what people will do is they'll come into the office, they'll do about a 17-minute bike ride, or they can do a period of time at rest, but we are challenging their body to assess their cellular health, what their resting metabolic rate is. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, let me cut down my calories in order to lose weight. No, I want to rev your calories through the roof so you could eat whatever you wanted and know that your metabolism is going to burn it like fuel instead of store it. When we're sugar burning, we're always storing fat instead of burning fat. So we want to be aware of how every cell in our body is functioning, and that we have the right exercise plan, we have the right nutrition plan, and we are optimizing our outcomes again. So we have the PNOE for clarity for people so that they can see, okay, it does make sense that I do need this support. My cells are suffering, or actually, here's where my starting point. And once we go through one of these pathways, we can retest and we can show them their progress. It's really a confidence builder in the efforts that you're making, that they're really working, and that you should continue them as part of a lifestyle, not a quick fix and something that you let go of. This is something that you implement every day and you maintain it. It's maintainable. So the PNOE is part of our January wellness offering and our event that we'll be hosting. These are just tiny snippets. So if you're attending, this is a great space for you to be in, because you'll learn more about all of these offerings and how they come together. I know that this is overwhelming, because it took me a decade to learn all of this, and I'm trying to snip it into a 20-minute podcast for you so that you can understand where the value comes from and what to use as a tool for you to proceed in Powell Studio supporting lifestyle. So next, we have the Sika scale. This is important because the scale is just one number. We're looking at muscle mass. We're looking at bone density. We're looking at hydration and water weight. We're looking at visceral and subcutaneous fat. We want to make sure that we know how every cell is functioning in the body, but we also want to make sure that when we do put efforts in, that we're losing weight strategically and building muscle. We're maintaining bone density, because these are the things that keep us strong for the long term. Our metabolism is based on how much muscle we have in the body, and that's our resting metabolic rate. If you are losing muscle mass, then your metabolism is going to be like half the time or half as slow. And that's going to end us into this slippery slope of really being able to eat nothing, maybe smell some brownies and gain 5 pounds. Not the goal. That's not fair. We should be able to live and enjoy and have strategy that we can feel confident that no matter what situation we're in, whether we're out with friends or enjoying the holidays, that we can make strategic, thoughtful decisions and know that as a whole, what we're doing is working. So the Sika scale has been a positive support system. When we're using things like thinner, we are with a 42-day reset of metabolic reset, where we are losing up to 25 or 35 pounds, depending on where your starting point is, but we're doing it safely. It's a homeopathic liquid dropper, no injections, medication that is what I start actually on everybody who comes to me and they're like, oh, Jen, I would love hormone replacement. I'm like, we need to lower the inflammation in the body first. And this is a great way to do it. It gives you a very quick opportunity to be part of a program, but a huge win in a short-term period, which has motivated our clients to continue on the rest of their pathway and the rest of their journey to then optimize hormones, to then fix and spend time in the Hocket, or then to add on some of the other modalities and efforts, both in office and at home. Confidence is what we build in here. And so I want to make sure that you guys feel that through and through the entire time we're working together, whether it's one of our shorter pathways or a longer pathway at Powell Studio. They're all encompassing, and we're thinking of you as a whole human. That's actually going to lead me into Avexapel. So hormone replacement therapy is something that I thought I may never, ever offer. I had a terrible experience, a personal experience when I first tried hormone therapy. I was poorly managed, and I was given a different brand of pellet that sent my testosterone through the roof. I had to tell my husband, so sorry, but I'm checking out dads at lacrosse that are not you, and I'm not sure what's happening to me. And then as it started to plummet and hit the ground, I was crying on a good day, teary. I'm having a good day. I don't know what's happening. So for 3 extra years, I was like, F hormones. I'm not adding them into my office. It's a specialty, not for me. And lo and behold, we had all these years of, hormone depletion, low energy, low libido, weight loss, resistance, and all these other complications because we're deficient in hormones at such an early age. So when I started with Avexius, I attended the conference and learned all about it in Texas and was overwhelmed with how they aligned with the mission, vision, values of Powell Studio and how we could get to the root cause of the problem, how they see you as a whole person. It's not just about adding more, but making sure that your methylation, your ability to remove toxins, your gut, every cell in the body is functioning optimally. And so through the Avexapel hormone replacement and through our nutraceuticals, I am optimizing hormones and bringing people's vitality back. And it has been a gift. So I want to make sure that you guys know about all of these offerings because it's really important for you to understand it's not one thing. We have to focus on multiple things in order to get one goal achieved. And that is living our best life, preventing things like Alzheimer's, heart disease, cardiac risk, and cancer. And when we're optimized hormonally, when our cells are functioning in an optimal way, that they are able to take on minimal inflammation and know how to remove it successfully because we are following pathways and strategies that keep our body with all of its deficiencies not happening, then we are going to live a long, healthy life that we're in control of. We want to make sure that the world isn't predicting when we're just about that age. Screw that. I hate that. It's the worst statement I've ever heard. Well, you're about that age. You should have hip pain. Well, you're about that age. You should need this many pills. Not here at Powell Studio. We're getting to the root cause. We're challenging Western medicine. It serves its role. It serves its place. It is for bigger things that I can't accomplish here, but for everyday lifestyle, for everyday optimal living, for everyday anti-aging and vitality, Powell Studio is crushing goals with pathways and protocols that are repeatable and natural, and we're confident that you will love every one of them. The next offering that we have in the office has become very trendy, and I don't usually follow trends, but I can tell you that I have been researching these for years, is peptides. And so although they are very tricky, we talk about them not necessarily being FDA approved. They are for research purposes. There is very different levels of medical tested and experimental. And so you want to be careful where you are sourcing peptides. NAD is actually not a peptide, but it is another thing that's become trendy. And so the two of them together, I get a lot of requests for. We do always start with tier 1 lab work to make sure that your body is able to drive the biggest outcome from your peptides. They are used for a lot of different things. I can't say they're treating anything because that's against the rules, but a lot of people are looking for support with aches and pains, poor skin, digestion, proper healing. We have BPC 157, TB 500, KPV, ipamorelin, tesamorelin for losing visceral fat and really rebuilding on muscle and supporting healing and recovery. So peptides have become all the rage, but we agree. We love them, and they have been an important part of all of the pathways that we have to offer. I have had just this year alone a client who was close to needing insulin. Her A1C was through the roof. She is thin, active, doing all what she thought was the right things, providing for everyone. Her body was so inflamed and so set back. But we're able to fix everything with the Powell Performance Program. So she now has a normal A1C. Her cholesterol has optimized since using BPC 157 and tesamorelin, ipamorelin combination. After we were able to detox mercury toxicity out of her, she is maintaining her results and making sure that her habits that we've developed over 5 months are now what her family understands is the new norm. And she's confident in her every day. We have another patient who came to us, new diagnosis of osteoporosis, was on steroids, recommended for injections. She is now completed our Powell Performance Program, and she no longer needs any of her medications, is about to stop the one last that she had for Fosamax. Everything has improved. She's lost 35 pounds. She has gone to her primary care physician, who didn't understand what was happening, but is telling her and happily cheering her on, saying, keep it going. And she has, just bought another package of Hockett sessions yesterday. Her maintenance is become very easy. She knows how to live in every bit of life, whether it's at a holiday or traveling. In every day, she's confident with what she has learned with the support of Powell Studio and our precision pathways to maintain these results and live her best life pain-free and confident. We could go on and on about all of these different wins. We've had husbands and wives who do it together. We have people who come in and start alone in order to build their own confidence. And I understand that, because I didn't feel confident to make these larger investment recommendations until I saw it happening over and over and over again, that we were getting the outcomes at every age and stage. And so whether you need support and have more questions, or you are ready to take your next steps, please reach out for support. We can answer all the questions that you have. Thank you for choosing growth, clarity, and a deeper understanding. If this episode sparked something in you, please reach out. We have lots of information and can also create deeper ongoing episodes that are specific to one or each of these modalities. Reach out to us on social media or leave any questions or concerns. We're happy to help you navigate your next steps.